Hello everyone, for Channel 6 TV Community Focus, I'm Dennis George, continuing with our series of interviews with local candidates who are asking for your vote for various offices on November the 8th. In District 5 with the Marion County Board of Education, there is a contested race between incumbent Jerry Evans, and he is being opposed by Brad Cox. And Brad, thanks for coming by today.
Well, thanks for having me, Dennis.
Well, some people have said, that seat's awful hot, so make sure we'll try not to be too rough on you today.
All right.
If you would, take a couple of minutes to speak to the voters who may or may not know you, your past, your background, and what you bring to the table, if you would.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Marion County and product of the Marion County public school system. I graduated Marion County High in 1994 and pursued a career in financial services. That career took me, to Louisville, Lexington, to Charleston, West Virginia, and lots of places throughout the United States. As I had children, as my daughter, who's a junior now at Marion County High School, got to be 5, 6 years old, I wanted to move back to my hometown. So I love the community. Myself and my wife Michelle, who's also born and raised here in the county, wanted to move back to our community. We found ourselves coming here a lot while we were living away from here, so we decided we wanted to raise our family here in Marion County. So we moved back, and we've been back since about 2007. In about 2010, I went to work as a financial advisor for Edward Jones, and I have a branch here right in town. And as most folks in the community that know me, I've been involved with a lot of youth sports activities, youth basketball, youth baseball and softball and so forth, and been real involved in that area of the community. And I'm also sit on the board for the Marion County Chamber of Commerce. So being involved in the community and wanting to see this community grow and prosper and help keep some of the my children, whether they want to stay here or not, but just providing opportunities for them so that they do wish to stay at home, they can, and for future generations.
Now, did you leave out that you were a member of the 1993 state high school championship team?
Well, I did leave that out. But based on the contribution I made to that championship, I won't say I was a key component.
But you were a proud member of the team.
But I was a proud member of the team, and it was an experience that I'll never forget.
And you're still in all the pictures.
And I'm still in the pictures, and it's something that was, at the time you didn't realize. At the time, I didn't realize how unique it was about bringing the community together. It was certainly a neat experience to be in Rupp Arena and see it completely maroon. It's something that I don't know that we'll see again, but hopefully.
You kind of pointed out some reasons why you are a candidate with your children and opportunity. One of the issues, obviously, on the ballot besides you guys is the nickel tax. Mm-hmm. You're a financial guy. You have an understanding of numbers. How do you feel about the nickel tax, your stand on it, and what it means to the community, whether it passes or not?
Well, I'm for it. I think for many of the reasons that lots of other folks are for it. One, we want to take advantage of matching funds from the state. We hate to see those dollars go into surrounding communities and so forth. Our economic development has done a great job here bringing opportunities to the community, and we've grown in jobs available. We haven't grown a lot in population. Not a lot of people have moved here, so I'd like to help create reasons for people to want to live in this community. I want to bring good folks to this community, and I think a top-notch school district with top-notch facilities would certainly help attract folks to move to the community. And really, without getting into a long discussion about interest rates and how long they could be low, this is really a good time if you're gonna bond if you're going to be issuing bonds to build new facilities, because we can virtually lock in next to nothing interest rates. So if this is something that happens 5-10 years down the road, the debt service or the cost of that loan could be substantially more than it is today.
All right, one issue that we've talked about with all the other candidates, obviously a few years ago there was a lot of criticism of the board and the superintendent, a lot of issues surrounding her. As an observer and with kids in the system, how would you rate the performance of Superintendent Schlosser? And if her contract comes up June 30th of next year and she did want to remain on, how would you feel about that?
Well, I think, sort of the feedback we get as the public, or the scorecard, if you will, is the state assessments. So, obviously we've seen tremendous strides and progression in that area, and our scores have risen. And, the banners that are displayed in front of these schools and how they're distinguished or proficient, and it's, going back to my earlier comments about people wanting to live in this community, as they drive through and they see this success, hopefully that'll make them want to become a part of the community. So, from that standpoint, if your results are based on, or if your critique of how well she's done in her job is based on how well test scores are, or how good the test scores are, then we're certainly moving in the right direction. Obviously, there's lots of other parts to that job that some current board members and things would have access to some of that information that would help you make a better, more rounded decision about whether how good a job she's done and whether we should renew her, offer a new contract or what have you.
As someone who will come on the first of the year, if you're successful in your bid to become the school board member, and not talking about buildings, and let's not talk about facilities and maintenance thereof, what challenges do you see facing you if you take office on January 1 as a member of the board?
Well, something that I'd like to be a part of or help initiate. I don't necessarily know that it's a challenge. It's more of an opportunity, probably. But
and sometimes they're the same, and sometimes are different.
Right.
So you can take and run with that.
So what I would like to see is our local industry here. They're challenged by filling the positions that they have available. Some unskilled and some skilled and so forth. But what I'd like to do is see the school district work hand in hand with the local industries, so that they can better, forecast or let the school district know this is the types of positions we're going to need. This is the type of training that these folks are going to need, that these kids are going to need to fill these positions. These are the kind of opportunities. And we also, from the other side of the coin, we have to let the students know what type of opportunities are available right here at home, the type of positions and the type of incomes and lifestyle that you can have right here in Marion County. So we got to do a better job of collaborating with local industry to what their future expected needs are, what skills they're going to need, how we can prepare our students to fill these positions going forward.
One criticism over the past several years sometimes is the transparency that the board has. People feel that they're not getting the information that they want, and as we talk with one other one, maybe people need to reach out a little bit more to make their effort. How do you look at that, and what would you do to try to be more transparent as a board member?
Well, I would say it's probably more communication than transparency. I think the information's probably there if people took the time to dig for it and look for it. I don't necessarily think it's an issue of information being hidden or not shared. It's just maybe not properly communicated. Maybe the public, maybe the board isn't doing a good job of communicating what they're trying to accomplish and what the reasons behind doing X or Y or Z. So as a board, if I were elected, I think something that we would need to improve is the communication, explaining what's going on. And there's some things that have, the spring summit, some of these things that are being done to try to get information out to the public. We just got to do a better job of that and keep improving. And obviously, you want to be, transparent. I mean,
all right. As you're campaigning or knocking on doors or shaking hands and kissing babies and all the things that go with running for office, what are you hearing from constituents?
Well, I'm hearing that they're pleased with the progress and the improvement in the school systems. I get a lot of questions about, obviously right now the hot button issue is the nickel tax. So it's this, does it work this way? Is this tax? Can we raise it more? What's this going to mean down the road? Or are we going to build a new central office? Or where's the money? So those are the types of questions and concerns that I hear. It's pretty much all basically surrounding that issue. I'm not getting a lot of comments or concerns about the the results of the students or how the educational process is.
Do most people seem pleased with the progress of the school system?
They do. They seem to be pleased with the results, and they take a lot of pride in those results and being able to say, look what our schools are doing. Look what my school's doing. So they are.
All right. Along that line, you have filed against an incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
Why, and what would be your plea to viewers as to why they should vote for Brad Cox to replace Jerry Evans as a member of the school board?
Well, I would say more of a vote for Brad Cox than against Jerry Evans.
Okay.
But I would say, having children in the district would be one reason to have more of a vested interest. Not that Mr. Evans doesn't want to see, continued success. But I also believe, just with my background in financial services and investing and so forth, that I just bring a different set of skills to the table that's not represented on the board at this time. And it could be, and it could play a valuable role when we look at maybe financing and bond issues and things of that nature. So I think that's one of the things that when people voted for me, that would be one thing they'd be voting for.
Okay. And I guess one thing that I have passed along to several, and as someone whose name was on the ballot and elected to city council here in Lebanon several times, it takes a lot of guts, and people are quick to complain, but slow to step forward and say, I want to make a difference. So I commend you and all those others who put their name on the ballot, giving people a choice, but wanting to not complain, but to make a difference in what goes on. So I do commend you for doing that, regardless of how the election comes out for you or for Mr. Evans or anyone else on the ballot. You're to be commended for taking that step and putting your name out there.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well, and hopefully I'm going to close that the money that your dad won off of me on the golf course a few weeks ago, you're investing it wisely for him.
Well, we invested it instead of putting it in the campaign.
Is that right? Okay, well, good. So, again, he didn't win that much either. Brad Cox, a candidate for a seat on the Marion County Board of Education in District 5. He's opposing incumbent Jerry Evans in the November 8th general election. For Channel 6 TV Community Focus, I'm Dennis George.